listening to The Nasty Table, the premier source for tabletop role-playing actual play. Now come on in, relax, and pull up a seat to The Nasty Table. Last session on The Nasty Table.
It looks like someone applied ink to him, so there is a picture down there. No, there's nothing I can do.
I get out and take out the metal detector. Beep, beep.
Takes you a little
Try
bit
to
of
dig
time.
around it.
There is something in there, and you can see it now. It is encarved with some sort of insignia.
That's in 3 spots.
And I don't want to leave these pictures unattended.
You asked me to do this. You remember?
Any universities around there?
University of Chicago. Bastion Becker.
I'm looking for the warehouse district.
It's in the warehouse district.
Thank you. Hang up.
Has it ever gone smoothly when he calls?
No.
That's why I had him call. Okay.
Can't even see. It's just like,
Why do you think this is going to be weird?
can't get it down here.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Forget I said that.
All right. I'm good at that.
I don't need that.
No, you're not.
No.
Dude, there was a Hoyt Peak in Yellowstone.
Was it really?
It was like the mountain next to the mountain we climbed.
Oh, that's sick.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you guys been keeping good notes? You guys think your note keeping's up to snuff?
I've done much better.
Really?
Yeah, but some characters I'd like. That's what I attribute the intelligence level to, kind of.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, and that's actually something that I wanted to actually talk about if I had the chance to, and I'm glad you bring it up. It's like, so this is so much different than like typical D&D, where like you don't really, you're not solving, the whole point of the campaign isn't to solve a case, kind of like this is. So one of the things that I was curious about is like, how do you guys balance that as players to balance out the role-playing aspect, but also like your own personal critical thinking aspect?
I can't stop my critical thinking, so I have to limit it with like kind of how I maintain what I got.
What do you mean?
The more disheveled my info is, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. That's pretty
it's
cool.
like this is your character's info, right?
Right.
Like, so,
do you guys separate it like that too, or is there a blend there between character and player character?
When I know something, it's hard. When I know something that, like, Roy, I don't think is, like, smart enough to know or shit like that, it hurts. Like, I really want to just throw it in. Like, I have, and then you guys have been like, we don't fucking know that
But
yet.
he's Sergeant. He's smart enough. Believe in him.
I know, dude. So, it's hard for me, too, but I think it's more painful for David than for me. That's just as a comparison.
Why do you say that?
Because he likes his critical thinking as a player, and I know that.
You have made some critical thoughts, reality at the table. Is there any, like, is there an idea or a theory that you have as Chup, but that Ray doesn't? Because I don't want you guys to limit yourselves just because you're playing characters.
yeah,
I mean,
like
the whole point is that.
Yes, yeah, you're right. There's the ones I convey with Ray are the ones I think Ray would convey, right? And it's, well, I've been thinking so much as Ray, then I kind of think it is like my most viable options, which at least what I've described in the campaign is what I thought. But yeah, there's other things that like I've just talked about that are like possibilities,
and
right? that we haven't.
And that's cool. Like I see what this is it's a balance between the people at the table solving this case and also the characters at the table solving the case. 99.9% of the time, they're the same thing. I think, personally. So I don't want you guys to limit yourselves, just because of your character. Now, the actions that you take, yes, obviously, make them in character. But just coming up with ideas, talking through theories and stuff like that, that's, you don't have to limit yourselves on that if you have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that I've been like limiting myself because of how Roy is, but the first thought that I had was when like I definitely think it's paranormal shit Roy is still like he's really leaning towards paranormal, but like that was a big slow burn compared to Alex.
Mm-hmm.
But I had fun like portraying that like slow kind of like understanding of like what the fuck is actually happening. So
you guys want to give me a recap?
I'm not on board with our wavelength of how we're treating this case.
Right.
Like end game, what we think. You know, I don't want to say ghost, but ghost. Ghost is a weird term for it.
Phenomena.
Yeah.
Unexplainable.
Yeah, he's not really on board with it, but he's on board with the fact that he's roped in. And he's aware of the stakes. Uneasy.
Is putting Davy into the fold out of pragmatics or something else? Why did you guys decide to bring Davy in the fold? Is it just because he can develop pictures and he is a coroner?
I think it's because he's already so like out of anybody that knows shit, like he knows a whole lot for being like outside.
More than
of it.
Longo?
Well, no, but
Luongo
Longo's our
already made him
lieutenant, so
cross
what
the
fuck?
line. He had to
Yeah.
cross the line without like we were hands off of him, and he already had to implicate himself on
Yeah.
this case. So like, it kind of I don't want to say fell into our lap. That's not correct, but like, it was a little gift.
Right.
To me,
An
he's just
opportunity.
like the closest, like, to the case that isn't us five, including Lieutenant. Like,
Of note, Longo has no idea what happened at Weiss's house.
mm-hmm.
like when we even presented like the idea of him being on board with us, he wasn't like, fuck yeah, I trust you guys, like let's do it. Which, not that he has to be like that, because he doesn't, but he was like kind of the opposite, where he was like, fuck, like, okay, like I'll do it, but I don't want to fucking hear anything about ghosts or any of this crazy bullshit. And when we were in the room developing pictures, he was crickets.
He was getting a little snippy too. There were some snippy moments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and like we weren't trying to be rude either. We were being nice.
Yeah, and I think you guys made a roll for it. Like, is he tired? And I said no, not physically, but mentally, yeah, he's drained. You just dumped this whole fucking thing on him, and then I guess it's a question of, because even now, Ray is apprehensive about leaving those photographs out of your personal purview, right?
Well, I'd be willing to maybe let like
That's what I'm gonna say. Would you like?
like some people in the group?
Would you let Roy hold on to him? Would you let Caleb, Jerry?
like Caleb all during the day? Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
no.
that's. I mean, I'd say that in front of Caleb, like in person. Like he's a liability at night, and he knows it. So
you
why
wouldn't-
the fuck would I give you all the evidence?
You wouldn't let Davy Jones hold on to him,
No.
right? Because there's levels to it.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 people that are the most implicated in everything. So those are the people that can hold it.
But Davey is like, it was as I was explaining it to him where I was like, fuck, you actually really don't have a choice in this. Like, I was like,
that's
like,
kind of what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
we're almost holding it over his head.
We
Like, he's
kinda
that's
are.
probably why he's pissed.
and like, I'll give it like 24 hours before like, that's like, he's either going to snitch and we're going to be in trouble, or he's not and he's really going to be with us, Because like, that's just the boat that we're in.
Because it was, I think the exact wording was like, you're already in this.
Yeah.
You looked over the body. You broke this chain of command and this the way that it's supposed to go. You broke the law. You're already here with us. So you might as well do this.
Yeah.
We
But
also told him to keep a gun on him.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, I feel like that is like if someone told me like after a situation like that, keep a gun on you, I'm like, why? Who's coming for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I was him, I wouldn't be snitching because I'd be fucking scared.
And then who would he even snitch to? Like, is he going
I don't know.
to, like, he can't go all the way up to Dan Winters.
Well,
And-
he might be able to.
We literally fucking at some point we definitely name dropped Dan Winters to him.
Not
did.
only did you name drop Dan Winters, he saw the developed photo.
Oh, was
of
that
Dan Winters?
it early enough in the?
Yeah, so the thing that we said is that, that first canister, which was the one from the storage locker, you sent that off to Minneapolis. So those already got developed. So really what Davey's working on is that second canister, which is talking about like RJ's place.
Okay. So we just started to see them at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, with the end of another shift, the four of you have, although staggered, each clocked out and begun to make your ways home, with Jerry and Caleb leaving earlier than Roy and Ray. At this point, it's currently about 8:30, and I do want to ask first, Caleb and Jerry, what are you guys doing when you leave, probably about an hour or so prior to that?
Yeah, I don't have much. Probably going home, catching up on sleep. Probably got a weird sleep schedule right now.
Just going home and going to sleep?
Is it the end of our workday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just going home.
Caleb, you go home, your wife is still up. It seems like she made dinner, but previously, so there are leftovers for you in the oven if you so choose. Looks like she's already about getting ready to get to bed. Your mom as well is already fallen asleep. Anything you want to do before you go to bed?
No, headed to bed.
To sleep. Jerry, just straight home, straight to bed?
Straight home, straight to bed.
So-
Fucking tired.
So that happened about an hour prior. You two who stuck around while Davey developed the photos, I believe we also had a conversation about the logging of evidence and what you're putting in lockup, what you're keeping out. But regardless, you clock out and you guys leave about an hour later, an hour and a half after your shift's supposed to be ended. So what do you guys do? Where do you guys head?
So what time is it now? Sorry.
At this point, it's about 8:30.
Do we get all... So you have all the pictures, Ray?
Yeah, I got everything in this canister. The undeveloped and developed.
All right. Well, see you tomorrow.
All right, man.
Heading home?
Yeah.
So Ray, you make your way home to your double wide, uneventful drive, make your way inside. Sarge runs up, pads down and asks for pets. And is there anything that you do before you go to sleep?
Yeah, I stay up for a while. Have a couple beers.
Okay.
A couple cigs. Fetch with the dog.
What's going through your mind during this?
I just kind of don't want to go to bed. Well, I'm apprehensive. That's all. That's all.
Okay.
Enough to keep me up. Just a little thing not making me not want to go to sleep.
Okay. Roy, making your way back to your ranch.
Yeah.
Make your way in. All seems quiet on the home front. The sun has set by this point, obviously. But is there anything that you do when you walk in? You walk in and immediately look towards the kitchen to see a bag has already been set up. April has made her own lunch for the following day.
Nice. I opened the bag. What did she make?
It looks like it's a ham and cheese sandwich with a bag of chips and a juice box.
Nice.
Oh. That dirty bitch left it on the table?
Yeah, what?
Oh. God damn, she doesn't learn anything. I put it in.
It's in a little bag. Where else is she supposed to put it?
The
The
fridge?
fridge! It's a fucking ham and cheese sandwich. It's just gonna sit outside. Fucking.
That's true.
You have the feeling that it may be more of a message.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Okay. I open up the little cabinet where I keep like pens and keys and sticky notes and shit, and I pull a sticky note out.
Okay.
Okay. And I write on the sticky note, April, I'm sorry that I really haven't been as much myself lately. Let's do dinner tomorrow. I'll take you out.
Okay.
Love, Uncle Roy. Put it in her lunch bag. Put it in the fridge. Yeah.
Roy is such a fucking good guy.
Until he's bound in chains in a coffin tomorrow.
Oh shit! He's still a good guy though.
So, are you doing anything else before you bed down?
Do I see the chicken?
Oh, the chicken is still...
Telemarketer?
Okay.
Fucking.
No, it's
The chicken is pocking around.
Okay. I walk up and smell it and look at it. Does it anything?
No.
No. All right.
You are certain now more than ever that this is a default generic chicken.
Okay.
Default _ chicken 1.
Okay.
Kill the chicken.
I'll leave the chicken in the house. Throw some grain out, right? Just hardwood floor.
It starts pecking. It misses like the first 3 pecks, but
Yeah.
gets a couple other ones.
Roy hates this fucking chicken. Roy's like watching this chicken. It's like, you fucking idiot.
Roy just has a moment of silence, takes out his gun, just fucking shoots it like 5 rounds. Sick of this blows shit. Up. Just feathers everywhere.
Yeah. Feed the chicken. Go upstairs. Brush my teeth. If April's not really making any noise, I'm just gonna assume. Well, it's like 9 p.m., right?
Yeah.
About.
Maybe a little bit later.
Okay. I'll just assume she's settling in. Go to bed.
Okay. Sleep takes the 4 of you, although at various points in the night. But I will ask that everyone leave the table except for Mike Finn.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, another daytime outdoors.
God. Oh, that's fuck. We forgot.
Hi, Mike Finn.
Alright, Joey.
That's all right. We're having fun. Hey, perk up.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to do anything. So sleep does take you. What is your mental state knowing things that have been occurring while you're asleep? Does Caleb not care? Is he over it? What's the thought process?
It's not over it. It's he's always trying to ground himself. I think I talked about that before. And he's trying to ground himself, especially now. I mean, he got so many details about the case, and the one thing that he knows is solving a case. Being there with facts and evidence and the supernatural almost is really what's throwing him off. So he's just trying to almost will it into fuck what's ever happening to me. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't. Just through straight willpower, I'm going to control something that is, in the back of his mind, uncontrollable.
Sleep does take you regardless. You fall asleep next to your wife. Slowly, your vision fades, and you have a dream that's not a dream, it's a feeling. Tightness. Being bound. Tied, stuck. Released. Tied, released. Squeezed. You're not being squeezed, you're squeezing something. Or you're releasing something. Are you squeezing something or are you releasing something? Squeeze or release? Squeeze or release?
Release.
Release. You wake up, you're behind the wheel of a car, parked out front of Quick Store. Crime scene tape is still up. But you heard a click right before you came to, as if you were getting into the car and closing the door. You take in your surroundings, it's daylight, but you're alone in the car.
Radio or car have a clock?
Car has a clock.
What's the time read?
6:30 a.m.
Any other cars in the parking lot?
No.
I get out.
You get out.
Can I see into the front lobby?
Yeah.
Anything? Not opening the door, just looking through.
Empty. There's still stains on the floor.
Same as we left it.
Same as you left it.
Head back into the rows of lockers.
Make your way back. You see the locker that has been so much investigation. The crime scene tape has been torn down. And the locker is lifted up just a little bit. The gate.
Do I have anything on my person?
No. You have
Nothing?
your wallet. And at this point, you did not consider it prior, but you take a look at what you're wearing. You're wearing typical normal clothes, and you have your badge on your hip. You also have your gun on you. for all intents and purposes, you look like your normal detective workwear.
Do I have any light on me?
No.
Can I see into the locker a good amount?
Yeah.
How it's cracked?
Yeah, if you bend down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bend down and you can see that it's been completely emptied, save for the coffin.
Open it up enough to let a little bit of light in.
And the light shines in and ricochets off of the concrete walls, illuminating a scene that is simply an empty locker except for this coffin, which is closed. The chains are still there as well, laying gently on either side of the coffin.
Go up to the coffin. Put a hand on it.
Cold to the touch.
The handle. Where you would grasp it to open.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it would open with ease if I cracked it with my finger?
Yeah.
Can I do so?
You lift it ever so gently, cracked open.
Can I see inside?
If you bend down a little bit to peek inside, it looks empty.
No note.
No note.
Close it. Close the door. Try to put the tape up as best I can.
Mm-hmm. It's easy enough.
I get back in the car. Search the car. Did I bring anything else?
Nope.
Trunk, nothing.
If you get out, open up the trunk, no.
Yeah, I'm in my personal vehicle.
Yes.
Head back home.
Head back home. Make your way back inside. Looks like your wife isn't home. Might be out for groceries or errands or something like that.
Sit down on the couch. See if I need the sleep.
You feel fine. You feel well rested.
Prepare for my shift.
Prepare for your shift. So sleep takes the rest of you. Your nights are rather uneventful. Jerry, you wake up. What time you think about?
Jerry's like a 7 a.m. waker upper.
Okay. Well, your shift starts at 7.
6 a.m. waker upper.
6 a.m. Wake up, start getting ready for the day.
Yeah, make a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke a ciggy.
Okay.
Fucking just reflect on everything, because like he kind of has like moments every so often where he's like, fuck, like this is just like a lot.
Your wife does approach you at one point, though.
Yeah, I would assume that I've been very distant.
She she comes up to you specifically to say, because when you came home, she was already in bed. But she says, Jerry, I was listening to the radio about the press conference that was yesterday. Are you involved in what they were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You're working that case?
Yeah. It's tough.
Is it as bad as it seems?
I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Jerry's just kind of like looking out. Like I feel like we're like in the kitchen. I'm like looking out a window, like not really making eye contact.
Is this related to why you've been calling your parents lately?
Yeah. And he's just like literally like one word, like.
Are you gonna be okay?
Now Jerry looks at her. Mm-hmm. Gives her a kiss, walks out the door.
Do you mean that when you say that?
No.
She gives you a longing look as you walk out the door. Doesn't say anything and folds her arms. You get in your car and go to work?
Mm-hmm.
Ray, what's your morning like?
Said starts at 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wake up at 6. I have like 2 cups of coffee because I'm definitely groggy because we did the night shift before. I'm still adjusting. Rip a cig or 2. Pet Sarge. Secure the canister. Head out.
Okay.
Canisters.
Yeah. Are you still actively keeping 2 weapons on you at all time?
Well, no. When I was in my house, I took my service weapon off.
Yeah, but I mean when you leave.
Yeah.
Waist holster and like a chest holster?
Yeah, like not, undershirt, everything.
Right.
Is the chest. Because we're in winter, so.
Mm-hmm.
But then the exposed waist, a service weapon.
Okay.
But I will say, just for character purposes, definitely, even when I'm in my house, I have my personal,
within arm's reach?
oh yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Roy, what's your... And I'm sorry, you go straight to work? Are you stopping anywhere?
Swing by Calvary Club. Just
Drive past?
curious.
It looks like they haven't opened yet.
You want to get
No,
a little pre-work?
No activity
Drinky
in
poo?
there.
No, it doesn't look like anyone's moving around. You can look in really quickly and you can see all the bar stools are flipped over on the bar.
Yeah, go to work.
I'm gonna get myself a drinky poo.
Roy, what's your morning like? Wake up, alarm
Yeah.
clock goes off.
Yeah, wake up very early, like 5 o'clock.
And what time does April typically go to school?
Like 7.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 o'clock. Go take care of the chickens. Take care of the farm.
Well, first, when you first start making your way downstairs,
Mhm.
you see April's doors closed.
Mhm.
Make your way down the stairs, start making your way towards the door, or maybe to get a cup of coffee. You hear a voice
Where?
from your kitchen, and it says, "Don't freak out. I need everyone to leave the table except for Alex."
God!
And this is the reason that I set the chairs up. This is either going to take 30 seconds or it might take like an hour.
Have fun, buddy.
Oh man.
So happy it's not always me.
I will also say this.
Mhm.
For the remainder of this encounter, you don't have to take notes, okay?
Okay.
Just keep that in your mind.
Sure.
Because there's... Let's just get it.
Oh god.
Make your way downstairs. Maybe you're about to walk towards the coffee pot or the front door and you hear this voice call out to you. Don't be scared. Don't freak out. Your head snaps and you turn around to see a figure on a seat at your kitchen table. Head leaning back. Arms dangling. Stiff and mutilated. Sitting at your kitchen table is the corpse of Dr. Weissclay. Flies silently buzz, circling the corpse, and the same voice speaks. You're still asleep. Sort of. I'm not going to hurt you, Sergeant McNeil. Although the corpse is completely static, dead and unmoving, you're certain that the voice is emanating from it. Please, sit down. Have a seat. What do you do?
Is everything else is normal in my house?
Seems to be.
I run upstairs and I creak April's door open.
Mhm.
Is she in there?
No.
I should. Does it look like she made her bed and shit? or-
The bed's completely made, yeah.
Okay. I close the door and I walk downstairs.
I just want to talk.
I'm dreaming.
It's a little more complicated than that. But yes.
You're
Can I make you more comfortable? Can I get you anything? Tea? Coffee?
the voice is coming from the corpse, but he's not.
Completely unmoving. You're looking closer. The carcass itself is in a further state of decay than when you first saw it before. What was yellowed is now turning this pale green color, and any visible blood at this point has hardened and blackened.
You're Dr. Weiss Clay. I like take a step towards the body,
Mm-hmm.
and I sit down. I go sit down at the table.
You sit down, and you look down. 2 plates and filled teacups appear on the table seamlessly as if they've been there. That's right. They have been here. They've been here the whole time. If this form bothers you, I can change it.
Please, change it.
I want to warn you that my catalog is a bit specific. And you can see very quickly, before you now sits a younger woman, dark brown hair, youthful and familiar. It's your sister, Renee.
Renee,
It's Roy, it's not her.
why would you... Who are you?
I can do someone else.
Yes,
and
anyone
quickly,
but her.
It looks like Ray Hoyt. There's a few of them in here, but I need you to...
Jesus, what the fuck is going on?
Look, I know that this is confusing for you, and it's very fucking confusing for me. I just need you to relax.
Who are you?
Weiss Clay. Look, I need you to do me a favor. Just real quick. Think about me when you saw me at the donut shop. Can you please do that? Hard.
Roy like closes his eyes and like squints his fucking eyes and tries to think hard about him.
You open your eyes up, and he's in front of you in that form. Older man, articulate, well-dressed. So, like I mentioned, you are dreaming, but there's a lot going on here, Roy. Okay? And I need to express some thoughts to you.
Am I high again?
No.
Is this the nitrous oxide?
No. It's none of that. Listen to me. There is a path that you are on. And I'm sure you understand the gist of it thus far. Strange happenings, okay? I don't have a lot of time with you now. But I want to offer you a deal. It will benefit both of us. I've died, as you saw. And before I go further, I want you to understand that this is very strange for me as well. But I have had a lot of time to process it. Sergeant, time does not flow the same where I am. I would argue that it doesn't flow at all. It seems as though I've connected to you somehow, tethered like a tugboat and a barge or a horse and a carriage. I've become luggage of sort. And
to me and my boys?
No, Roy, just to you. And I haven't invaded you willingly. I promise you that. It just sort of happened.
Have you been watching me?
No.
You've been watching me.
Maybe. But not in the way that you think. See, your memories, your feelings, and your goals, I have been floating in your cosmos for what has felt like a very, very long time. Now, Roy, I understand that it's only been a few hours for you. But I'm grappling with something here. Okay, this is the basis of my deal. From what I understand, when I was killed, something kept me here. Okay? In this in-between space. And instead of standing in the middle of the road, I ended up on your curb. Roy, and I would like to come inside. I'm asking for a place for me. The me that is now, whatever that is. A place for that me to stay. Somewhere in you. In your mind, where I can watch until this is all over, and then I'll leave. I will simply exit you. And I won't force you, and I won't ask you again if you say no.
Why should I have any reason to trust you, man? You put us through to that trailer park. You put us through this entire path that we've been going down.
And that is exactly why you should trust me. If you agree to this, I will answer all of your questions. For as long as it takes, and for as many as you have, I will tell you everything. This story, these events, it has a climax. Okay? And I'm very interested to see it unfold. And I believe that if you agree to this deal and you ask me for information, I'll tell you it. It may end the way that you want. I know this is a lot right now, but it is very important to you. And it is as important to me. This has been my life's work.
I close my eyes and squint again, and I try to think of a legitimate, beautiful Cuban cigar.
Okay.
Does it form in my hands?
No.
Fuck. Can you get me a Cuban?
I can. You look down. There's been a pack of Cuban cigars there. They've been there the whole time. Take as much time as you need, Roy.
I grab the Cuban, light it. How do you know you can even get out of here?
Once I'm in, I'm certain I will get out. I don't know exactly the mechanics of it. And I can't also promise that parts of me won't bleed through into you. But I can say with certainty, a fair amount of certainty, admittedly, that once this is gone, because, Roy, this has to be an effect from what's going on. Once it's done, I should be able to just leave.
The last guy that got put on this trail was you, and he got fucked by whoever put a fucking 12 gauge through your face. Man, I gotta...
That's true. You're right. It's dangerous.
What put you onto this?
See, that's a question, Roy.
So that's the deal then? I ask you one question, and if I get an answer, we're locked in?
No. No, like I said, I'm not forcing you at all. Roy, I respect your autonomy. 100% I do. I swear it. This is an offer. I don't think that you should take it. I really wish you would.
You wish that I would, but you don't think that I should.
You said it yourself, the last person to fall into this. What happened to me?
Fuck, man. I have so many questions for you. So what's this mean? I'm just gonna dream up, Is this how we're gonna talk? When I sleep?
If you want. Like I said, I'll respect your autonomy. I just want to watch somewhere behind your eyes, front row seat.
So you know everything?
Oh, no. I know a lot. But I still have questions the same as you do. Some of your questions are questions that I have as well.
Do you know everything about my life? What I did? Where I'm from?
He nods. And like I said, I did not mean to pry, but I was locked there for a while, and I had no choice. I know everything. I don't judge you for any of it. And I don't judge you for keeping it a secret either.
I ripped the fuck out of the Cuban.
Okay.
And I'm like, and I just put it out. I'm like, all right, fine. Fine.
Are you certain?
You're going to help me figure out, you're going to help us figure out what the fuck is going on with Dan Winters. That chicken. Is the chicken around?
No, the chicken is nowhere to be seen.
That chicken. With RJ, with Bobby Tillman, right?
Okay. He sticks his hand out to shake.
I reach out and shake it.
As you reach out to shake it, he pulls his hand back before you lock. Are you certain?
I don't think that it hurts me nearly as much as it hurts you. Not yet. I'm in.
Okay. Sticks his hand out again.
Shake.
Deep embrace, shake. Good 2-3 shakes. And he lets go. And he's still there, looking at you. And you don't feel any different.
So, and I think of the symbol. We got your journal, your notes that you wrote.
Oh, I remember them deeply, and I also have these memories of you reading them as well.
What is it? What's the symbol?
It's a deity. Apsogosanikos. There's a lot in there. Okay. I'll start at the beginning for you. It's real. It's very real. I don't know if you needed to hear that. Did you need to hear that?
Part of me did.
So I first learned of this on a UN Security Council research team. After World War II, me and a few others, including the Bastian Becker that is mentioned in my notes, were contacted to travel to Rome for an extended period of time to study art and artifacts and other antiquities that were stolen by the Italian military. This was in 1947. Most were Egyptian, and it took our team a little under a year to go through the entire catalog. Some of these relics were related to Apsogosanikos. Now, the research team was unable to pinpoint exactly where the Italian military took all these relics from. It was impossible. They didn't keep records. But there was not a lot of information to go on regardless related to this entity. Paintings, pottery, clay tablets, and they all contained that symbol, an eye with a plant stalk in the iris. And through the study of these artifacts and anthropological research, we developed a few theories. The first was that this was a god of fertility, pregnancy, and good harvest. So, the name itself, Apsogosanikos, it's the root of a lot of arguments among the research team. Ancient Mycenaean Greek translations were a headache, and a lot of the text didn't fall under the dialects that we knew existed at that period in time. So the research team needed to make a few logical jumps, assuming what the meaning was that was being expressed in these artifacts, because the language itself didn't make sense. Much of the text went untranslated, and although the name itself is vaguely male-gendered, we were operating under the assumption that the deity was female. Hence why my journal entries refer to it as her. And this was only because, coupled with the fact that a lot of the text was not grammatically correct or wasn't able to be transcribed, along with the fact that most of the deities related to fertility of that time that existed around there, talking about Mesopotamian, Sumerian, they were all female. There wasn't a single male fertility deity at all. So we started referring to it as a female. Some references to this deity melded the two words together. The first half of Opsogos, the second half of Anikos. That's what was on the coffin. It's a blend word, but we never had examples of blend words this early in the Greek language, and it's not even a grammatically correct blend word like spork or Tex-Mex or something like that. This was a lot of the argument, was the semantics, the language. It didn't make sense. We didn't give it a lot of thought. Now, the research team was large, but the three of us that were tasked specifically with looking into stuff about Opsogos and Nikos was myself, Bastian Becker, and an Italian scientist. His name was Lilo Avallone. The artifacts, crude paintings particularly, at one point began to depict scenes of violence. Now, Roy, it was very, very violent. It was horrible. Not just murder, but rape and what we thought was sacrifices. Victims stuffed with wheat stalks in all orifices and cavities, then gruesomely killed. Depictions of torture and murder. There was this piece of art that depicted a man getting his fingers cut off by another, and then the man who cut the fingers off stuck them in his own ears and then lit both of them on fire. We haven't even seen that level of creativity and torture and violence in ancient civilizations like that. Now, there also seemed to be this theme related to oneness, which also relates to the name. The direct translation is impeccable, singular, perfect, singular, singularity, singleness, unity. Some paintings depict many people becoming one person. And it always seemed to be through the influence of this deity. Often it would involve iconography of a black heart. Now, I want to make it clear, this idea of black heart. At the point, we thought it was strictly symbolic. Even up to my death, I thought it was strictly symbolic. But with your memories of Bobby Tillman, that may not be the case. Do you have any questions? I have more to explain, but stop me at any point. Because I really want you to go through everything. I want to make sure that you know all that you need to know.
Impeccable singularity. Impeccable, perfect one.
Perfect singular. It wasn't one. It wasn't depicting a number of things. It was depicting the idea of one thing as a noun. Singular.
You and Becker started on this study in Italy where you met an Italian?
Yeah, he was on the research team as well, Dr. Avallone.
Avallone. Fuck, man. I have no questions.
The other thing to understand at this time is that the deity was always represented in as if it was a feeling or an essence. It was never depicted in physical form, much like the way you see depictions of invisible forces in ancient iconography. Wind, hate, love, things like that. So there's no evidence at this point that it had any physical form in the worship. Not like a statue of Zeus or a depiction of some Sumerian deity, right?
Yeah.
At this time, there weren't many relics in totality. There were probably about 3 or 4 dozen. And at one point towards the end, told you it only took us maybe about a year, a little less than that. Myself, Becker, Avalone, we were celebrating. We had a bottle of nice whiskey, and we all got drunk. Becker went to bed, and it was Avalone and me together. And he told me privately that he had thoughts of suicide, but that he'd never do it. He'd never act out on it. He had a kid, he had a wife, people to support. He said that it was a creeping feeling deep in his subconscious. And less than a week later, he killed himself. Stabbed himself in the neck and bled out alone in his dormitory.
Jesus.
And the project concluded shortly thereafter. And I went home. But this is where it started.
Did you feel anything? Did Becker feel anything?
Not then. So I came home. I went back to the States. I bought a house in Linwood. And I begun to study apsychosanikos, or apsykos, privately. I brought my notes with me. And I was developing theories and cross-referencing those theories with other known deities at the time, and theologies and anthropological studies. We didn't even have names for the tribes that we knew worshipped this thing. It wasn't in any other book. It wasn't in any other documented histories. This was the first contact with this thing. And I stole something from Rome. I stole a single small artifact. It was this elongated copper disc that had punches in it. It wasn't like jewelry or a pendant. It was more of a relic, something of religious value. Small, but it had that symbol on it, and I would carry it with me all the time. I wouldn't put it down.
Is that what Caleb and Jerry found in your backyard?
You don't know that yet.
Oh.
They didn't share that with you yet.
Oh, okay. Is it out of character? Is that?
You don't know.
Okay.
Bastion would help me during this time. Me and Becker stayed close. We would bounce ideas off of each other. And around this point, I started having vivid dreams. Bright, flashing lights. The smell of sulfur. It was all very abstract. Feelings, more than anything. Fear. Hate. This deep, welling sadness. I was scared a lot during that time. I couldn't explain why. I felt like I was being watched, which was new and odd and unique. And Roy, I kind of liked that. Now, the working theory now was that Apsykos was a classic archetypal fertility god whose followers would often commit sacrifices. That's what it depicted. That's what matched with some of the theology of that time. But the big hurdle was deciphering the dialect that was used in these written texts. And that's what admittedly took the most time during this point. I didn't have the primary source, but I copied most of this stuff into my notes, which I brought with me. The linguistic study, it was exhausting, because that's not my forte. But we had a breakthrough. It was a clay tablet that translated. It read, "Hidden desires within. Would you sever the hand that is connected to your own body?"
I see.
You and I both know where the last place you saw that was.
Yeah.
And it made me think of Lilo Avalone back in Rome. His hidden desire. Suicide. And it wasn't a coincidence to me. I was sure, and I'm still sure, that Avalone's actions were directly related to exposure to these artifacts, because it happened to me. My desires, my deep wishes, my subconscious, my obsession with this thing. And I didn't want to stop. There was no reason to, not now. But this was the first time that I acknowledged that it was real. And I was so sure. And I don't know why I had that confidence in it. But I had it. So, with the translation, the depictions of violence, the idea of physical unity, and the first-hand accounts that I had with Lilo, my theory became what I now believe today. What I believe sit in front of you right now. Opsogos Anikos is a powerful entity that can affect the way that people think. It can lift a person's restraint. It can lift, strictly speaking, societal restraint. Lift your self-control and force or allow you to act out your deepest, truest desires. Murder, torture, inflicting harm, pain on yourself, pain on other people. There's no, it doesn't matter how horrible or vile it is. What you want, it lets you do, or it forces you to do. That's where Becker and I rooted a lot of our arguments in philosophy. Whether or not a human being is innately interested in that kind of thing. I believe they were.
Why did Becker disagree?
Well, he argued... I don't remember what he said. I don't remember. I was still with it at this time. I need you to understand. My decline in the journal, it was very real. Especially near the end there.
I see.
I don't remember what Becker said to me, but I remember that he didn't agree with me and I didn't like it. I was so certain that this is what it was. Because it was what it was. That's what it is. You know, this is the point. This pain that it allows you to inflict. These desires it allows you to act out. It's not for any other reason. It's a demonstration. Okay? It's to show you. Back to the idea of unity. You would not cut off your own hand. Would you?
Of course not.
Would you cut off somebody else's?
No.
What if you had to survive?
To survive? What kind of circumstance?
Just answer it. Would you be more willing to cut off your own or somebody else's?
Depends on the person.
A stranger. Someone evil. Dan fucking Winters, Roy.
I would cut his hand off over mine.
That's the point. This idea of unity. Becoming one. This idea that if you were to become one single entity, one impeccable singular, then there would be no conflict, because conflict would conflict with the idea of self-preservation, because you wouldn't be cutting off someone else's hand, you'd be cutting off your own. That's the idea. It is a complicated religious theory, and it does not fall in line with any of the theology that we know existed at that time. That is very complicated. We're not talking about tribes in the desert worshiping the sun, okay? Whatever this is, it's fairly abstract. Now, this is what is bothering me since we begun this conversation. That idea of unity. Perfect, singular, one thing. These paintings depicting oneness. The fact that you and I are having this conversation right now makes me think that that might not be symbolic, Roy. Do you follow? I know this is a lot.
No, I know what you mean, man.
So, although on paper this was just study, I couldn't shake the idea of this being real. I couldn't. And maybe it was because of its influence. Now, like I mentioned, Becker and I would argue over philosophy. And I don't remember a lot of them specifically. This was at the beginning. My obsession was starting to spiral, and any voice that went against what I was saying or what I was thinking, I just drowned it out. I think it would be a good idea for you to reach out to him, because he might have more information, more context, a different viewpoint, because I'm not what I was when I was killed. I've had time for my brain to settle down. And I think that I've been released from whatever influence was inflicted upon me, whatever obsession was being forced out me, whatever desires I was acting out. A lot more reserved now than I was then. But I was spiraling, and it was getting bad. I would devote every waking moment to studying. I was trying to pinpoint where it was worshipped, or at least try to pinpoint where the Italians recovered these artifacts.
What state of mind are you in now? As truthful as you can be.
Curiosity. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to see how this plays out. And I don't care how it does. But Roy, when you spend your entire life working on something, and you get taken out of the game right before it's about to end, that does not feel good. Like I said, I don't care how this ends. I'd like to help you, since you helped me.
That... You said it was copper piece?
Yeah.
How... Did Lilo have this piece?
No. Lilo was in his... He wasn't exposed to the artifacts any more than myself or Becker was.
But it got to him first?
That's my thought.
I see. And let me ask you this. You're dead. What the fuck killed you?
I was shot. In the head. I think.
You were.
Yes. I will get to that, because that ending was stolen from me. Roy, I didn't want it to go like that. But there's a lot, and there's a lot of reasons why I got to that point, and why I did what I did, and why what was done to me was done to me. And I want more than anything for you to have the context for that. Because if I tell you now, you might not understand it as fully. Because I did have good reasons. I think. I don't know. Now, during this time, I wouldn't bathe. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't sleep. I would write until my fingers were raw. This was prior to me working as principal, in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
All this, with this numbing background noise of Becker begging me to stop, I threw away the chance of a wife and a family and a normal life. Okay? I don't know why it got that bad. I have no idea. I don't know what caused this obsession, but I fell into it nonetheless. You have a daughter, correct?
I do. She's like a daughter.
Roy, I can be inside your head, and I've been there for a while, and although the paper says niece, I know what you think. You have something that I will never have, and I just want to make it clear now that you should take care of it as best you can.
Do not take my daughter from me.
I wasn't planning on. That's not my intention.
I'm telling you now.
Don't misconstrue what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to take her from you.
This part is irrelevant to anything you have to say to me.
It's very relevant, because I didn't have that, so I could go all the way in. I could go to the deep end because I had no one waiting for me when I got out. That's what I'm saying.
I don't plan on pushing myself too far to lose her.
You might not have a choice. And that's not a threat. That's a warning. Just tread carefully. I know you don't need to hear that. I know your mind's already made up, but...
Did I have a choice before I shook your hand?
You did. Only because I know the way that you operate. And you'd be lying if you said after I tell you all this stuff that you're not going to do anything with that information. That's a lie. Of course you're going to do something. So yes, you did have a choice. And now because of your nature and how you operate, you might not.
Okay. Look. And Roy like chuckles a little bit. He's like, that's obviously not what I... Can you get me a bourbon?
Sure. Waves his hand.
On the rocks.
It's been there the whole time. How did you not see it before?
I grab my bourbon that's been there. And I'm like, that's obviously... not what I want. Weiss.
Oh, well, I know, but what you want and what's gonna happen, those are... You can't fight your nature. And I'm not being coy, I'm not playing with you, You know that. Roy, don't tell me with a straight face that you're gonna just wake up and pretend like this conversation never happened. When I tell you all about Bobby and RJ and Lucas and Chris and all of them, that you're gonna do nothing.
I pinch myself. Do I feel it?
Yeah, you feel it.
I start looking around and I'm like, where's the fucking nitrous tanks? Where are the nitrous tanks at?
Stop, Roy, stop. Stop it.
The lieutenant was probably not lying. I got high. Everyone in that fucking room got high.
Do you really think that? Because I know what you really think. You can't hide it from me, at least.
I think when I wake up, that's what I'm going to have to think.
Well, good thing you're still sleeping.
So what else you got for me?
Well, I don't remember what exactly spurred it, but there was a moment where I had lucidity. I was spiraling horribly. And it was Becker. His face, he was crying. We were in my study, and I had the barrel of a shotgun pressed to the roof of my mouth. I was sitting on the floor. I don't remember how it got there or what led up to that, but I regained control for a moment, threw the gun across the room, promised Becker I would stop this spiral, this obsession. So I buried the artifact that I stole, put it in my backyard, and I filed all the papers and all my research in my study. And above all, I found the resolve to keep that promise for a long time. I quit. 6 years of study after Rome. I quit. I dropped it. And I'm sure you know how that ended. I gotta get a beer. I've been talking nonstop. So from there, with support from Becker, I tried my hardest to make a decent life. I worked on my mental health. I developed good eating habits. I picked up a few hobbies, hunting pheasants. That's where my shotgun collection mainly came from. And I was happy. I landed a job, anthropological studies, at the University of Chicago with Becker. But this was dangerous because any work in history or anthropology or archaeology, it just guided me closer and closer to Apsokos. So I quit that job. And then I became the principal of Churchill Middle School. And I was overqualified, but it was a good fit. It was close to home, and the work wasn't boring, and I was content with simply helping children pursue education. I think education is important. Genuinely, I do.
I agree.
I admit that I was better, but this idea and obsession with Apsokos hung on me heavy. very, very heavy. But I never acted on it. 16 years. I didn't do an ounce of research. Nothing. I know that you read my journal, and it genuinely begun as described. There was a man who I now know was Robert Tillman. He was at a grocery store, and I followed him. I don't know why I did. And I overheard him speak the name Apsogos Enikos. And no one should be aware of that name. Nobody. Because no one, at least without a deep understanding of anthropological studies and ancient deities and obscure gods, because to my knowledge, not a single person, even throughout the 6 years of my private study and the 16 of my lull, my time where I didn't study at all, nobody looked into this at all except for myself, Becker, and Avalone. And I know Becker didn't, and I know I didn't. The question of how this deity took root in America, I still don't know. Genuinely, I have no idea. I told you that some questions that you have and questions that I have are going to be the same questions. I started tailing Bobby. I was watching his movements and who he was speaking to, and funny enough, using your memories, I can put names to them. He was meeting with Sean Gosman, RJ Quinnen, Chris Malaki as well, and Lucas Iannidis.
He saw them? How recent?
I mean, this was 69.
Oh, okay.
This was about in 69. Sometimes they would meet at a nightclub. I mentioned it in my journal. It's called Blue Coda. It's in Minneapolis.
Oh.
It's a club.
This is the nightclub.
But it's ran by these criminals, okay? Mafia types. I'm talking guys in suits from Chicago, okay?
Yeah.
And so these guys, you know, your Bay Street, as it were, they would meet with a variety of people there. The 5 of them, they were transporters, okay, for different dangerous criminals. They would drive a lot of different things, a lot of different places. Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, even as far as Pittsburgh. During that time, it was mostly drugs, but it was also guns as well. Most of the time, whatever they were shipping was given to them from one party to give to another party. But on a few occasions, I saw one of them, usually it was RJ, but sometimes it would be Bobby, requisition these things, buying guns in Chicago or buying bundles of drugs in Milwaukee. It wasn't just between point A and point B. They were suppliers as well, to an extent.
What drugs are we talking?
I am a bit embarrassed to say, but I'm not quite sure. White powder, cocaine, I'm not sure.
Sounds like cocaine.
Now, here's the thing. Under my theory now, you need to understand that Apsogos Anikos, it plays to your deep desires. What I believe to be violence, murder, drugs, sex, the thing is that these are also pretty lucrative actions, okay? So, it's no surprise that those who walk the path of the Black Heart would fall into work like this, and they'd have no reservations about it whatsoever. Does it make money? Sure. But it's a direct effect, I think. In May of 69, they were transporting a coffin. I mentioned that. I originally thought it was a trick of smuggling, like it had something in there that they were trying to get across state lines, but it wasn't that. There was a placard on it that read Apsogos. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Jesus fuck, man. Don't tell me that.
I don't know what was in it. I have no idea. But whatever it was must have been important and controversial, because here's what I heard them say. They were taking it from Pittsburgh to Chicago. They transported it in a hearse. They took it from Pittsburgh, they skipped Chicago entirely, and then they went to Madison, Northwest. They got in an altercation amongst themselves. They stayed in Madison for a few days. RJ shot and killed Sean Gossman and I saw it.
How did you see it happen? You were following them that close?
It was very dangerous, Roy. And there is no doubt in my mind, especially with the way that this ended, that they must have known. There's no way they didn't.
No.
Here's the kicker, though, is 4 days after that, Bobby shot and killed Chris Malaki, also in Madison.
Oh.
2 dead. I lost them after that, but based off of your memories, I know where the coffin ended up. How it got there, I don't know, or why. A few days after that, I broke into a car outside of Blue Coda, and in the trunk I found small relics, like Rome, but I have that catalog memorized, and those were not in our catalog.
Was the symbol on there?
Yes, all over it.
Whose car was this?
I don't think it was any of those Bay Street guys. I don't know whether it was some organized crime member or police. There were so many police officers there, and they would go in there brazenly in full uniform.
Officers from Minnesota officers.
Minneapolis, specifically. And they had no reservations about associating with a known criminal element so openly. It would have only taken one interested person to figure this out and put it together.
So, if they knew, were they just that confident in their ability to shut shit down from the ground up?
I don't think anyone stepped to them. No one tried anything. I don't know why. It's confusing to me. Whether they had the ability to shut this shit, as you say, down, or if they didn't care. They had no worries about repercussion or image at all.
What kind of car was this? Do you know?
It was a police cruiser.
It was a cruiser.
Minneapolis police cruiser.
Jesus Christ, man.
Now look, if you do talk to Becker, he and I argued a lot more around this because I kept him up to date on everything that I was doing. And my spiral was way quicker, almost as if I picked up from where I left off 16 years prior. It was a quick degradation, and as much as I tried to stop it, I noticed that my memories were becoming foggy, and truthfully, from this point on, my only real reference to what happened then, I have bits and pieces, but most of it is going off of what you read in my journal and me trying to remember based off of that.
Okay. So, the map in your journal, that's Blue Coda?
That's Blue Coda. What you need to understand is that at this point, what I theorized was that what was unfolding was a coalition of criminal elements aided and abetted by local police, generating money and perpetrating acts of violence somehow, some way for this deity, for Apsokos. And it wasn't just a cult. It is not just a cult. It's a whole network. Criminal enterprises from here to Milwaukee to Chicago to Pittsburgh. It's widespread. I don't know exactly how involved every single facet of that network is into the worshipping, but it, I mean, it has to be. Now, the last thing in my memory that is clear was my last night, which was last night. I don't remember what spurred me. Even considering the journal entry, I can't make sense of it. Like I said, my mental state is not as depraved as it was then when I wrote it, so, I mean, it doesn't make much sense to me. But what I do remember is arming myself. My Weatherby over-under, it was my favorite. Stuffed my jacket pockets full of 12 gauge, and I made my way to assault Blue Coda. I don't know why, but I wanted to kill as many as possible. I climbed the fire escape, and I came in through the second story, and the whole thing was a blur to me. I fired a shot at a man through a closed window. I climbed through. There was another man who came in through a doorway, I shot him, and then I reloaded, and there was a struggle. What was strange was, I'm sure they were all armed. None of them fired a shot at me. It was like they knew I was important, or I had information, or I had something. They didn't fire a shot. They tried to disarm me, but I had reloaded up to that point, so I remember squeezing the trigger, and I blew a man's head off as he was trying to wrestle the shotgun away from me, and he was wearing a Minneapolis police uniform.
Officers were watching this happen, too?
They were upstairs. Okay, this is the second floor in a nightclub? I don't know. I don't know. But someone struck me hard in the back of the head. They hit me with something. I don't remember much more after that. I woke up in the back seat of my own car, driving on the freeway toward Linwood. And Roy, I did not recognize the driver then. But with you, I know him now. It was Dan Winters.
Dan Winters drove you to your own fucking house.
He drove me back to my house, and there were two others in the car. One of them stuck me with something in my neck, and I don't remember anything else from then.
That was your last memory, was Dan Winters driving you to your house.
No, I remember something else after it. It was a knife that Winters had. I fear it. I fear it now so deeply, this primal kind of fear. It was crude, jagged, pitch black, rough, menacing edges. My mind was transported to a place of raw instinct, like the very essence of human survival. Okay, this knife,
Just being near it or seeing it?
I just remember it, and it was extinction. Okay, my blood screamed. I don't know. Above all else, I respected it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But that was it. And then after that, I was watching somewhere far away as you came into my bedroom.
And is that how you joined me? Joined my mind?
I think so.
So you didn't even know how you died, really?
Going off of your memories, I think I can put it together. You don't think so?
No, I do. Fucking Dan Winters. That son of a bitch needs to get punished.
Well, you made a mistake.
What was it?
I don't know why you would reveal what you did at the press conference. You put a target on your back. What was the goal? To solve the case? The case is bigger than the case.
The case hasn't gotten as far as it has ever, as far as I'm aware. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You know more than me.
Well, now we know the same amount.
And I know that releasing the information that we had, at the time it was a gamble.
Look, you better hope it pays off, because the way that I see it, if I were you, I would take this thing off the books immediately, because there's no benefit to being under the purview of police.
How can we go about leaving the unit now? We can't just leave, all four of us. Davy Jones is in it.
I'm sorry I killed those kids. Blah, blah, blah. You saw it. It was written all over.
No.
Just bag it and tag it. Roy, it's so much more important than this. You have nothing but threats around every corner because you have to operate in this rat maze.
I'm high, and You didn't even write the note.
I know I didn't, but it was smart.
Smart for who?
You and me.
No. Someone wrote that note that was against us.
What are the benefits of operating under the purview of your precinct today? You need answers. You need to beat the shit out of people because I'm too old to do it. I wasn't
can't
able
do
to.
that.
Go to Blue Coda. Go there. Grab somebody. Hurt them and make them talk.
I don't do that. I don't do that, Weiss. I don't.
I know you don't. I figured I'd try. I know you don't.
That's why. Oh, God damn it. Staying in the unit. Staying with my group. If I leave, I feel like it's going to be game over for me.
Granted, you will not have the protection that you have. Because although you are exposed, you are relatively safe.
Exactly. What are the people going to think when they hear that the sergeant of the violent crimes unit was put down very shortly after releasing all this information about this case? And or my detectives. I can't lose my guys. I can't.
I'm just putting it out there. Look, here's the other thing, is that whatever you experienced at Quick Store, I have no idea what that was. I have a few theories. Whether it's the entity given form, or a shard of the entity, or something. Especially those scrawlings about feeding it until I is we, right? That's the whole idea of unity.
Yeah.
They're giving it something. And I think that it might be making a physical form. That's my guess. Okay, but I have had many theories throughout this investigation, and I've told you it's taken my whole life. Not all of them have been right.
So you saw Caleb get thrown against the wall and lifted into the air?
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised at that?
Because I knew it was real. I still do.
Yeah. So, you don't even know what that thing is. Was, if it even was a thing, or a being, or smoke and mirrors.
No idea.
Why'd you put us through to the trailer park?
Because I wanted to get pressure on Bobby. I knew that he went around there. I honestly had no idea that he was there for a kid. But if Bobby's nervous, then he makes mistakes, and I can catch them. He slips up because the cops are around. And that helps me.
It was smart doing that.
I'm not quite sure.
So, let me get this straight. You keep one of these, souvenirs, artifacts with Obsecosis symbol. This is a coin? This is a...
it's best I can say is some sort of relic. It's hard to describe. It's a flat metal piece. But I never sensed any inherent danger from it or being near it.
Well, that's when you started losing your mind.
I think that it's the mere idea of this thing that incurs this and lets it in and allows it to come in. I don't think that the actual artifacts had anything to do with it. Because think about it, if you think about it, theorize the idea of it, nobody worshipped this thing. We don't know where. So that means that whatever worshippers it had died out or were erased. So that's us right now. You know what I mean? Whatever it is dangerous.
I know what you mean.
Oh. Once I saw RJ carrying art supplies. Paint and brushes. I don't know if that's important or not.
RJ was carrying art?
Yeah, with supplies. Wasn't canvases or anything like that. Trying to think what else would be helpful for you. I apologize. Like I mentioned, we're bound now. He gives you a smile.
Roy literally.
If you want to talk, I'll be here just the same. And I'll be watching, so.
Are you? You'll still be here when I wake up?
No. But I'll be here the next time you go to sleep. At least that's my understanding of it, as it is now.
Okay. I'm intrigued about going to Blue Coda.
I would wait. I know I want you to go there, but they're probably on high alert because of what I did. This was only 2 nights ago, so...
Do you think that they...
The club's probably closed.
Yeah. What do you think they would do if... It's a stupid question. We'd get fucked anyway. If some Linwood Falls officers walk in there.
You would probably be murdered.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you don't think that, from their perspective, we are as special as you yet?
That I don't know. I don't even know if they know what you're on. I mean, the only example that I can see is them messing with evidence or leaving a note for you in the locker. There's not a lot there.
Do you think Becker knew? Becker's really the only other person that knows that you went down this path.
He doesn't know where I ended up. And admittedly, it is a little selfish of me to say I'd like you to reach out to him, because more than anything, I'd like you to apologize on my behalf. Because he is my only friend. And I hurt him physically and emotionally. And I feel horrible about that. And if I could take it back, I would.
Where is he?
University of Chicago. He's a professor there.
I'll talk to him for you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you have for me now?
Fuck, I have so many questions.
I'm not going anywhere. As many as you have and as long as it takes. That's the deal.
Do you remember the faces of the other people that were in the car with Dan Winters?
If I see them, I'd be able to recognize them for you, yeah.
Will I know when I see them, or will I have to wait till I sleep for you to talk to me?
I'm not sure.
We'll have to experiment.
See, I am speaking in confidence, and what I can say confidently, and I have not told you a lie thus far, I genuinely believe that I will be able to detach myself when this is over, because I will have no reason to stay here. This obsession, this connection that you and I have as well, this has to be because of some sort of influence. So when this is over, I hate to come full circle, but you will either be dead or set free.
What does that mean, Weiss?
I don't know. I want to know. Very much so.
Something tells me that you weren't set free. You're stuck in my fucking brain.
No, it killed me. I was the prior, not the latter there.
Very much so.
But now I'm in an in-between space. Thanks for being such a good sport about this, by the way. I was a little nervous on how this would go.
Roy fucking God damn it. I like this guy. Alex likes this guy. God damn it. Yeah, Roy fucking chuckles, is like, don't thank me for that. That's not why I'm letting you stay here.
Okay.
Alright. I stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And I look around and the house looks the same.
Yep.
Well, is there anything you have for me?
I gave you everything.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to wake up now. And in a snap, you wake up in your bed, sheets soaked, you're drenched in sweat. You look over at the alarm clock, and it says 6 o'clock on the dot.
Okay. Shit. All right. Do we want to bring them back in, or do we want to... What do we want to do?
We're not done yet.
Okay.
What do you do?
I wake up and I'm like... I'm like pale, cold sweat.
Yeah.
I stand up, like barefoot, clammy feet on the shaggy carpet.
Mm-hmm.
I step out, peek my head out the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Is April's door open?
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck.
It's like cracked open.
Yeah. I was like, fuck.
You don't hear her downstairs though. You would imagine she's probably getting ready for school.
Yeah. I shimmy downstairs
Mm-hmm.
because I'm running late. I overslept. So I shimmy downstairs. I don't say anything to April.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I get to the bottom of the stairs, like I halt and like stare at the seat that he was sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
It looks normal.
Looks completely normal.
I call from upstairs. April, you up?
Yeah.
All right. Fuck. Okay. She doesn't have breakfast. I'll make her breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah. Sunny side up eggs. Brown.
Gotcha. Nice.
Make her the eggs.
Yep.
Breakfast ready for you downstairs. Run upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Throw on my fucking button-up shirt. Button the badge on.
Yeah.
Pin the badge on.
There's a moment where you're like looking, get your clothes all set up, put it on, go into the bathroom real quick to like wash your face, and you look at the mirror and you catch a glimpse of your reflection, but it's not you in the reflection. It's Weiss Clay looking back.
Roy's heart fucking sinks.
Roll sanity.
$60 on a 46.
You're going to lose 2 points of sanity. You grab your chest. You look to your hands. You press your hands to your face. You stumble backwards. You trip and fall on your ass. And you say, "Oh, Roy. Oh, no." You stand up and you make your way over to your bedstand. You grab a pen and a piece of paper and write Dr. Bastian Becker, followed by a phone number. You quickly look outside your bedroom door to watch April walk down the stairs. You slam the door closed. You look around frantically. You squeeze your eyes closed tightly. Your breath quickens and then slows. And you feel in control again. I would like to introduce you to your disorder. Dissociative identity disorder. Now, it's a little different than how it runs in the book.
Yeah.
But anytime you lose 2 or more sanity points in a single roll, Weiss is going to take over.
Oh,
Now, here's the kicker. You'll be controlling Weiss. He's got a separate character sheet, which I'm going to give you.
oh shit.
Separate skills, separate everything. Let me give it to you.
Oh my god.
Yep. So I also have a printout for you with his memories, his goals, his motivations, but his actions, what he does, is going to be completely up to you. And how long he's in control for, it might be a little difficult for Roy to understand how it works at first, but you can take back control at any point. Okay?
Mhm.
You're also going to be able to freely converse with Weiss anytime you go to sleep. Okay?
Yeah.
And although Roy isn't 100% sure how all this works, he has a general understanding of it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you're also aware of Weiss's motivations and his goals and his memories.
Oh my god, man.
So narratively, this is completely up to you. Weiss is in control for as long as Roy feels comfortable for. He can do whatever he wants to do. And his goals. Actually, if you wouldn't mind, just read his goals aloud.
Yeah. Okay. His goal above everything else is to see the events unfold. He's more grounded now than when he died. The case. Weiss doesn't really care how the case ends. More than anything, he wants to watch it unfold, and if possible, help along the way. He's aware that his mental state has deteriorated prior to dying, and that obsession has clouded his better judgment. His mind is clearer now, and his obsession has gently reduced to its original state of curiosity. Apsychosenikos. Weiss wants to know the motivations of this entity. Although he is fairly certain that they are not benevolent, he wants to know the extent of it, and whether or not the entity is being manipulated in any way. Regardless of whether or not the entity is evil, even if it has destructive ideas of the human race, Weiss simply wants to be a bystander and allow whatever is planned to unfold, but he wants a front row seat. Fuck. Roy, his team, and the Linwood police. Weiss wants to protect Roy, if for no other reason than to protect himself. He has less regard for Roy's team, but acknowledges that their survival is beneficial for Roy's survival. Fuck, oh my god, bro. The same can be said of the rest of Linwood's police force. Bastian Becker. If given the chance, he'd like to apologize to his friend, Bastian Becker. He feels guilty for hurting Becker, not only physically, but emotionally abusing his only friend. Even when Weiss was at his lowest point, teetering on the verge of full insanity, Becker supported him. April McNeil. One of Clay's biggest regrets is sacrificing his chance of having a family for his investigation. He appreciates Roy's relationship with April, and if possible, will operate in a way to protect that relationship. Okay, thank God.
So
Son of a bitch.
what do you think?
This is fucking sick.
You
dude.
think you can handle this?
I think so. I think definitely.
Give
can
me
handle this.
give me your best Weiss Clay voice.
Fuck.
Sometimes I'll do him like this. Sometimes I'll have him talk like he's speaking on eggshells, but the end is always confident. Other times I'll just have him talk at a normal, articulate way like this. Normally when he's stressed out, that's when he starts to talk like this. That's how he was talking when you were out for donuts. Like that.
Yeah. Okay, so he kind of thinks linearly, and it sounds like he's thinking of his thoughts until it reaches its conclusion.
You got it. All right. You can work on it.
All right.
You gonna take on this challenge?
Dude, yeah.
This is a cool disorder.
Yeah, this is sick. Yeah.
Well, with you preparing to go out for your next shift at the VCU with some additional luggage, that's where we're gonna pick up next session.
Thanks for listening to this episode of LFVCU, a Nasty Table production.